Okay, here are the answers for Wednesday's starters. We are taking the percent proportion and we're using it to solve word problems for the first couple problems. So we've got at Lisa's swimwear, 70% of the 60 swimsuit styles are bikinis. How many bikini styles are there? So remember that we're looking for, I'm going to put this over here, the part over the whole, and that's going to equal our percent over 100. So in this problem, we're setting up our proportion. We're putting our 100 on this side of the proportion. We're going to look in our word problem to see if we have a percent. And in this case, it does say 70% of the swimsuits were bikinis. So 70 goes over the 100 because that is 70%. Then we're looking to see of the 60 swimsuit styles. That means out of 60 swimsuit styles, which means 60 is my whole thing. And I want to know what part are bikinis. After I've got my proportion written, I'm doing 60 times 70 is 4,200. And 100 times x is 100x. Remember that those two things have to be equal when we cross multiply. So I want to know 100 times some number is going to equal 4,200. And if you don't know what that is, we're just going to divide by 100. 100 divided by 100 leaves me with just my x, and 42 divided by 100 is 42, which means that I have 42 out of my 60 that are bikinis. Shelby brought chocolate and vanilla cupcakes to school for her birthday. 32 students decided to take a cupcake, and 75% of them picked vanilla. How many people picked a vanilla cupcake? So we're going to set this up. We've got our 100 at the bottom. We're looking to see if there is a percent in this problem, and it says that 75% picked vanilla. And then in this particular problem, it doesn't have like an out of like the other one did, out of the swimsuit styles, but it does say that 32 students decided to take a cupcake. So we have to decide, is that 32 the whole number, or is it the number that picked vanilla? So if 32 students chose cupcakes, that's going to be the total number of kids that pick cupcakes. And we're looking for the part that chose vanilla. So we're doing 32 times 75, which is 2,400. And then 100 times x is 100x. Those two things have to be equal when you cross multiply. So we've got 100 times some number equals 2,400. And then we're dividing by 100, dividing by 100. 100 divided by 100 leaves me with just one x. And 2,400 divided by 100 is 24. So 24 out of the 32 students chose vanilla cupcake. After a month of successful fundraising, Robert and his classmates voted on whether to donate the money they had raised to hunger relief or to environmental causes. 40% of the 25 votes were in favor of hunger relief. How many votes were for hunger relief? So we're setting up our proportion. We've got 100% here. We're looking through and we're finding that 40%. So that is going over the 100. And this says of the 25 votes, which means out of 25 votes. So that means there were 25 votes total. And we want to know what part chose hunger relief. So 25 times 40 is equal to 1,000. And 100 times x is 100x. We want to know 100 times what number equals 1,000. Some of you may already know that. If you don't, we're dividing by 100. 100 divided by 100 gives me just that x. And 1,000 divided by 100 gives me 10, which means 10 out of the 25 votes were for hunger relief. Then we've got a graph. So it says there's a proportional relationship between the age of Elizabeth's apple tree in years, x, and the height of the tree in feet, y. So what does the x-axis represent? Remember, the x-axis is down here, and that is labeled years. So the x-axis is years. What does the y-axis represent? Well, the y is here, and that represents the feet. And then we want to know what is the constant of proportionality or the unit rate for this graph. Well, typically we're going to go look at the 1, except for the 1, we can't tell where that is. The 2 also doesn't cross right at a line. The 3 doesn't cross right at a line. The 4 doesn't cross right at a line, but the 5 does. So 5 years is 5 feet. So 5 years is 5 feet. And we want to know, this should be the other way around, sorry. 5 feet is 5 years. So we want to know for 1 year, how much did it grow? So we're dividing by 5. We're dividing by 5. And 5 divided by 5 is 1 foot per year. So 1 foot per year. Write an equation for this graph in the y equals kx form. Remember, in the y equals kx form, that k is your constant of proportionality, or the unit rate. And we said that for us, it's 1 foot. So we're going to put a 1. So y equals 1x. And it is 1 foot per year.